Utah Salt Lake area, earthquakes are still continuing. The area is still rattling. As you can see here, this is exactly where we have the mantle plume. You see Baja California? It's like a Y. The west coast and the east coast. Not east coast, but to the east. And the east runs right through Utah and into Yellowstone, as we can see on the top of the graph here on the left-hand side. The mantle plume from Baja running through all the way through Utah and into Wyoming, where Yellowstone is fed by this. This is the geology of the lake. As you can see, this is a mantle plume, well, just an example of the mantle plume. And we, as we said before, have 8 volcanoes in Utah. The most recent one being south of the lake, erupted about 660 years ago. It was a lava eruption. And here we have the areas which are red are intrusions of magma, as you can see there. The area below the lake, basically to the southeast, is where we've been having our quake swarm. And we're going to see that it's an area which is very soft. It's made of sediment and salt. And where you have water and salt, obviously that's not a good mix because it can dissolve very quickly. That's where Salt Lake City is located. And over 2.5 million people have felt the 5.7 earthquake that we had the other day. And the quakes are still continuing. Let's take a look at the maps. We're at Sizewell, Berkeley. The video before this one talked about the 4.5 that we had today in Nevada. It was felt by about 5,500 people reporting it. And it's just gone up. The numbers keep going up. Okay, so 5,737 reported that one. And obviously tens of thousands must have felt it. This is in an area, as we said before, between right here, between Long Valley and Lassen Peak, and it shook the whole of the area. The shake map shook the whole of the area, Long Valley and Lassen Peak. Lassen Peak last erupted in 1914 and 1915. Now going back to our Utah. The Utah, as we said, has 8 volcanoes. And as we saw before, the mantle plume starts from Baja and it splits to the west, the high threat volcanoes, where we had our 4.5 today at Lake Tahoe, in between Lassen Peak and Long Valley Caldera, which is a supervolcano. And the Lake Tahoe is, of course, a quake swarm. Now, that was shallow, but it's a quake swarm, and it shook both volcanoes there. And the other eastern part of that mantle plume goes through Utah. Of course, it feeds these volcanoes, which are right on that line of the fault, and into Yellowstone, which is right here in Wyoming. Okay, so it has the 8 volcanoes, and the one that is 660 years eruption is this one here, the Black Rock Desert Volcano, right there. It's the of the youngest. It's the youngest lava flow, roughly 660 years old. Ice Springs lava flow, located Ice Springs, about 15 kilometers west of Meadow. Okay, these are basically young. Ice Springs volcanic field. Okay, it covers an area of 20 square kilometers. And going back, and this one was a couple of thousand years ago, if I remember correctly. It produced massive, youthful-looking lava flow, traveling 12 kilometers to the south-southeast. Okay, and as we can see, they're pretty young. And going back to our map, and we go to today's quakes, and we see that they keep, I just can't count them. There's just too many. And they're ongoing all day today. They started yesterday and they're going and increasing, not increasing, but in quantity. Let's put it that way. This is our bigger one here. As you can see, this whole area is lakes. Okay, that's Salt Lake City. They closed down the airport, and we can take a look at the 5.7 magnitude earthquake. Over 35,000 people reported to USGS, because I want you to see the aerial and the liquefaction. The liquefaction. Take off the shaking contours so we can see it better, and that's it right there. Salt Lake City is right in that midst of that. Okay, Salt Lake City is in the midst of that. Let's put in the topographic. There's Salt Lake City. Okay, Salt Lake City is right in the liquefaction area, and this area here too, on the banks. Eisenhower Highway, and these areas, of course, around that lake and around this area, which is basically pointing towards another lake here. As we said before, it's low-lying and it's very soft sediment. And now I'm not making this up. This is USGS. It's not fear-mongering. This is USGS showing us a map of the lake. Obviously, it was filled in. This is exactly what they told us is going to take place with Lake Tahoe. In about 3.5 million years, the lake will be filled in, like this is filling in. I would assume that this lake was up to here at one point, and it started filling in because it started drying up. And just like Lake Tahoe will be doing the same thing right here. As we said in the previous video, when we talked about the geology of Lake Tahoe, it's filling in, and they assume that in 3.5 million years, the whole lake will be a valley, like it'll look like a valley, because it'll be filled in by sediment. Okay, so it looks like the same thing happened here. That's why it's so soft. So all of you, please be very careful, because the quakes are still ongoing. And as we said, this is the exact route of the magma from the mantle plume that's heading into Wyoming, right there. Okay, and of course we have earthquakes there, but they're just normal activity. But obviously, the 5.7, if we look at the shake map, looking at the shake map, and go to the aerial, and we can extrapolate it if we want. No, not this one. No, I want to go to the other one. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm sorry, so sorry. Here we are, the shake map of the 5.7. There we go. The 5.7. And that's Yellowstone right there. Now, I would say that it shook Yellowstone, because if you extrapolate the lines, that's pretty big. If you extrapolate the lines, it's going to hit Yellowstone, which is right. That's Yellowstone Lake right there, where the little hand is. You can see that lake? That's Yellowstone Lake, right there. That's it right there. Okay. So you can see that these lines just keep on going. It was big. And that's Yellowstone. And as we said before, and this is the Idaho here. You can see that beautiful lava flow right there. It looks new, so clean. But it's right along the line of the mantle plume. And how far is that from Yellowstone? Where are we? Here we are. There we are. How far is that from Yellowstone? In miles, let's see. From the Quake area, it's about 260 miles. Okay? And the shaking is basically up to there. So be very careful. we have viewers from there, from right around that area, Salt Lake City, and also on the West Coast as well. Please be very careful. God bless you, and thank you for your support. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.